Ada for refusing to accept my dad's girlfriend? So here's the deal. My stepfather, who's technically been in my life since my sophomore year of university, has started dating again, which, on paper, I knew would probably happen eventually. My mom passed away almost a year ago, and as much as that still hurts like hell, I figured he'd move on someday. But knowing that and actually seeing it happen are two very different things. And the way it's happening, I'm furious, completely blindsided. And the reason why isn't because I don't want him to be happy again. It's because of who he's seeing. Let's back up a little so this makes sense. A while ago, my mom got into this nasty argument at a neighborhood get-together. Some woman there got totally trashed and decided to start throwing ugly insults at her. Not little jabs, like serious, low, personal stuff. My mom, being who she was, stood up for herself and told this woman off. Things got loud. Voices were raised. It got bad enough that the drunk woman ended up calling her daughter on the phone, putting her on speaker, and her daughter literally threatened violence against my mom. Like not vague threats. Real, scary, specific ones. The cops got involved within the hour. After that, both the drunken woman and her daughter were banned from ever coming near our property again. The police told them straight up, if they so much as set foot on our street, they'd be arrested on the spot. After all that chaos, my mom finally felt safe again in her own home. We all did. Fast forward to now. About a month ago, my stepdad casually drops into conversation that he's been seeing someone. No big announcement, no name, just this vague friend he's been spending time with. And at first, I let it slide. I thought, well, maybe that's good. Maybe he's finding some kind of happiness again after all this loss. Until my cousin pulled me aside and told me the truth. This friend of his? It's that woman's daughter. The same daughter who threatened to hurt my mom. The one who got the cops called on her. The very person we cut off from our lives for good reason. And now my stepdad is hanging out at her house, spending time with the same family that made my mom's last months miserable. When I heard that, I felt like I'd been punched. I couldn't believe it. My uncle, who married into that side of the family, also thinks this is beyond messed up. He told me I need to sit down with my stepdad and talk to him about this. But honestly, why should I have to explain this to him? Why does he need me to spell out why this is such a betrayal? He knows what happened. He lived through it with us. He saw how scared and upset my mom was. He saw the police at our door. He saw how long it took for all of us to feel safe again. And out of every person he could have chosen, he picked her. That woman's daughter. From that family, he had every other option. Literally anyone else in the world. But this is who he chose. How does that make any sense? Is he that lonely? That lost without my mom? Or does he just not care? I don't have an answer. All I know is that I'm angry, hurt, completely confused. And part of me doesn't know if I'll ever be able to look at him the same way again. So, Ada for not accepting this relationship? Story 2. Ada for telling my fiancé I won't give up my career to be a stay-at-home wife like his mom. He works in finance and makes really good money, and from the very beginning of our relationship we agreed that both of us would keep working even after we got married. It was something we both wanted because we value our careers and independence. His mom has been a homemaker her whole life, and I always respected that because everyone's different, but lately she's been making these passive-aggressive comments whenever we're around her. She'll say things like, a woman's place is at home, or mention how she put her career aside for the family and how important that sacrifice was. At first, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to start any conflict or seem disrespectful, but those comments kept happening more and more. What really bothered me was when my fiancé started repeating some of the same ideas. He would say things like, once we have kids, maybe you won't have to work anymore, and it felt like he was trying to pressure me into giving up my career for the sake of tradition or family expectations. I tried to explain how important my career is to me, how much I want my own money and independence, and how that doesn't mean I don't respect what his mom did, but it seems like he just didn't want to hear it. When I stood my ground, he accused me of disrespecting his mother's sacrifices and even called me selfish. That really hurt because I wasn't trying to disrespect anyone, just wanted to be honest about what I want for my future. So I told him that I'm marrying him, not his mom, and if he wanted a housewife, he should have asked one to marry him instead of me. Since then, he's been sulking and calling me too focused on money, like that's some kind of insult. It's frustrating because I thought we were on the same page, and now I'm starting to wonder if our visions for the future really match. I love him, but I also love my independence and the idea of building a life together where we both have careers and contribute equally. It feels like that's being challenged now, and I don't know how to make him see that my wanting to keep working doesn't mean I don't respect his family or what they value. It's just the way I want to live my life. So, Ada? Story 3. Ada for wanting to walk away from my husband because of how he acts when I wake him up? Let me lay this out the way it really happened because maybe someone out there will understand what this feels like. Our baby sleeps in our bed most nights, curled up between us, and I don't really sleep well because I'm always half awake making sure he doesn't roll off or smother himself. It was early in the morning, maybe 5:30 or so, when I gently reached over and touched my husband's shoulder. I whispered, trying not to startle him, "Hey, I need to make a bottle. Can you keep an eye on him so he doesn't roll off?" Nothing. No response. I waited a second and then softly shook him again, a little firmer this time, asking the same thing. Still nothing, like he wasn't even there. So I pulled the blanket down from his face, leaned close, and said louder, "Please, I need you to watch him for 2 minutes." And finally, he jerked awake like I'd just smacked him across the face, scowling at me like I'd ruined his entire life in that moment. He groaned, rolled his eyes hard, and muttered under his breath, "Oh, what a perfect way to start my day. I just love being woken up for this. Really makes me feel rested after getting no sleep. Thanks for that." Then he threw his arm over his face, breathing heavily like this tiny request was the last straw, and I'd committed some awful crime against him. And what breaks me the most is that he's the one who always says it. Always. "Wake me if you need help. I'll gladly get up." He says that every time. But when I actually do, when I actually need him, he acts like I'm the worst person alive for asking. And yeah, I get it. He works long shifts. I don't deny that. But he also brags to his friends on the phone about sitting in the truck for hours or killing time at the shop or tossing a frisbee around with coworkers just to stretch out the day. Meanwhile, I'm home every single day. No car, no family nearby. Stuck in the same four walls with the baby. No break, no escape, no quiet. Just me and the endless list of things that never get done. And when he finally does walk through the door, if I ask for 5 minutes of peace to maybe breathe or sit down or just stare at the wall in silence, it's always the same response. "Today was the hardest day ever. I can't. I'm dead." Every time. Like I've got it easy. Like my day was a vacation. And I get it. I really do. He's tired. But so am I. So tired. And this is what it's been like for years now. Years of this exact dance. No change. No honest conversation that fixes anything. Just two exhausted people who gave up trying to fix it a long time ago. So, AITAH for thinking maybe I've had enough? Story 4. AITAH for staying away while my mother's in the hospital. I'm her only child. No siblings. No close family left. My dad passed away a long time ago. For the past year, my mom has lived full-time in assisted care after social services finally stepped in. But before that, she lived with me and my husband. And here's the hard truth about all of this. My mother has always been difficult, controlling, overbearing. She made everything in life about her. Every decision had to be hers. Every choice had to fit into what she wanted. Even when I was a kid, it was like that. One example that's always stuck with me happened when I was around 13. Our school was offering all the kids a routine TB vaccine. Totally normal. Everyone was getting it. But not me. My mom refused to let me have it. She said it was dangerous. Said the vaccine itself would make me sick or damage my health forever. She convinced herself that it was some big medical conspiracy and that if I got the shot, I'd probably end up crippled or worse. So I never got the TB vaccine. Now here we are, decades later, and her doctors are saying they think she might have tuberculosis. They're not sure yet, but they're testing. So I called the care home to ask if visiting her would be safe, and the nurse gently reminded me that since I'm not vaccinated, the risk is higher for me than for most people. It's not a simple visit. It's a real risk. The nurse told me it was my choice, but I needed to understand the danger. I chose not to go. I FaceTime her instead. She's got her tablet, and she knows how to use it. She calls me whenever she wants. I'm not cutting her off or ignoring her, but she's furious. She says I'm selfish for not sitting by her bed like I always have. She says I'm abandoning her when she needs me the most. But all I can think about is how this moment, this risk, was shaped by her choices years ago. How she made sure I never got the one protection that could have made this decision easier. And now I'm the selfish one for not walking into the risk she created. So, AITAH for keeping my distance because of a risk she caused years ago. Story 5. AITAH for refusing to help my mom after she always favored my brother over me? I'm 27 years old, and about a year ago, I made the difficult decision to cut off contact with my mom, who is 51. Growing up, my brother, who is now 30, was always the golden child in my family. He never faced real consequences no matter what he did. He skipped school regularly and got into legal trouble multiple times. Every single time he found himself in trouble, my mom was right there to bail him out, no questions asked. Meanwhile, I was the quiet kid who kept my nose clean, focused on school, got good grades, and stayed out of trouble. But whenever I tried to get my mom's attention or talk to her about things that were bothering me, she would dismiss me and tell me I was too sensitive or that I was making things up to get attention. It was like my feelings didn't matter at all and only my brother's problems deserved her time and effort. When I started college, things only got worse. I needed help paying tuition, but my mom flat out refused to help me financially. She told me that my brother needed the money more than I did and that I should figure it out on my own. So I did. I juggled 3 different jobs, took out loans, and worked my ass off to make sure I could stay in school. It was exhausting and stressful, but I had no other choice. Then just recently, my mom showed up at my workplace completely broken down with tears streaming down her face. She told me that my brother had lost every single one of her savings in a terrible investment, and now she was on the verge of eviction. She begged me to let her stay with me, just until things settled down, because she had nowhere else to go. I thought about it for a long time, but in the end I said no. My place is small, my life is quiet, and I'm honestly tired of carrying the weight of her bad choices choices and my brother's recklessness. I don't want to be responsible for fixing their problems anymore. When I told her no, she completely lost it and called me heartless and selfish. To make matters worse, our aunt told me I was being too harsh on family and that I should help my mom no matter what. But I just can't agree with that. I grew up feeling invisible and like I didn't matter because my mom always put my brother first. Now I'm finally standing up for myself and setting boundaries. It's been really hard, but I don't regret it. I just wish my family could understand why I made this choice instead of judging me. So, Ada for shutting her out after everything she did? Before we move on to the next story, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, tell us your favorite story in the comments, and if you have your own story to share, let us know down there too. Story 6. Ada for kicking out my roommate after she lied about being allergic to my cat. I'm 24 and living with a friend from college who's also 24. When she first moved in, she told me she was severely allergic to cats. I have an older cat named Jasper who's basically family to me. I grew up with him and honestly, he's been a huge comfort over the years. When she brought up moving in, I almost gave Jasper up because I thought her allergies would make living together impossible. But she promised me she could handle it as long as Jasper stayed confined to my room and I cleaned obsessively. I trusted her because she seemed genuinely concerned about my cat's well-being and about making the situation work. I thought that if she could manage the allergies, it would be a good compromise. I rearranged some things to make Jasper comfortable in my room and kept the doors closed to keep him contained. I cleaned more often than usual, vacuuming, wiping down surfaces, and keeping everything as dust-free as possible. For a while, things were fine. She didn't complain, and Jasper stayed mostly in my room like we agreed. But then, just a few days ago, I came home early from work, and what I saw completely shocked me. I walked into the living room, and there she was, curled up on the couch, petting Jasper like he was her own pet. Jasper was relaxed and purring, and she looked completely at ease. It was so out of character for what she had told me about being allergic that I just froze for a moment. I didn't say anything right away. I just watched for a bit, trying to process what I was seeing. When she noticed me standing there, she looked surprised and a little awkward. I asked her how she could be petting Jasper if she was allergic. After a moment, she admitted the truth. She said she wasn't allergic at all. She just didn't want a cat roaming freely around the apartment. She said she thought if she told me she was allergic, I would keep Jasper confined to my room and clean obsessively, which would make it easier for her. But she never wanted to tell me the truth because she thought I wouldn't agree to having a cat at all. I felt completely betrayed. It wasn't just about the cat anymore. It was about trust. She had lied to me for months to control where Jasper could go in his own home. I told her I couldn't live with someone who would manipulate me like that, especially over something so important to me. I told her she had 30 days to find somewhere else to live. I thought that was fair, considering she had broken my trust and I needed space to feel comfortable in my own home again. Since then, she's been calling me unreasonable, saying I'm overreacting and that I'm making a huge deal over just a cat. Some mutual friends have even chimed in, telling me that I'm being dramatic and should just let it go. But for me, it wasn't just about a cat. It was about the fact that she lied to me and tried to control my life in a way that wasn't fair or respectful. Jasper isn't just any cat. He's been part of my family for years, and this is his home too. I feel stuck because I want to do what's right for Jasper and for myself, but at the same time, I'm hearing from others that maybe I'm overreacting. I just don't know if I'm the one being unreasonable or if I'm justified in feeling hurt and betrayed. So, Ada? Story 7. Ada for ending things with my boyfriend because of money issues. I was in a relationship with my boyfriend for about a year and a half. I'm 27, he's 30. We live in India, which feels important to mention because it shaped a lot of what happened. Both of us worked at the same tech company, even in the same team, so we saw each other every single day. It all started harmlessly, just casual chats during lunch breaks, coffee runs, messages about work, nothing serious at first. But as time went by, I caught feelings. I told him how I felt, though I made sure not to pressure him or expect anything in return. In fact, after confessing, I deliberately kept some distance because I didn't want to end up hurt or disappointed. But then something changed. He started texting me more often, sending thoughtful little messages, giving me small surprises like coffee or snacks during the day. And a few months later, on one drunk night, he finally told me he loved me too. I felt like I was floating that night, like this was going to be something real, something lasting. In India, most girls are expected to settle down before they hit 30. It's about family expectations, stability, this sense of being the right age, even if my parents never forced me. But they were clear from the start. If a guy is serious about you, he should have his own house, not to show off, but because having a house means security, peace of mind, a future. I told my boyfriend this early in the relationship. I wasn't pushy or rude about it, just honest. He always nodded and said, "Yeah, makes sense." But time kept passing and nothing happened. No talks about buying a house, no action. I brought it up again, gently. I even helped him browse online listings for affordable flats. Every time, he brushed it off off or change the topic. One day I asked him directly, "What's the plan?" And he just laughed, saying, "Oh, I thought we'll worry about that later." I haven't really started. I stayed patient. I kept thinking maybe he'd get serious when the time felt right. But months passed and there was still nothing. No savings, no property plans. To give some context, he was terrible with money. By the end of every month, his bank account was nearly empty. A few times he even borrowed from me. I didn't mind at the time because I cared about him, but it made me anxious. Once, I remember, he had only 300 rupees left till salary day. I sat him down again. "What's happening with the house plan?" I asked him straight. He promised, "This year for sure." My heart lit up with hope again. But 2 months later, he casually mentioned, "Nah, not happening this year. Your call what you want to do." He was drunk when he said it, but it shattered me. I cried so much that night, wondering how someone could keep stringing me along like this. And yet, I still thought, maybe a few more months, maybe he'll realize how serious this is. But nothing changed. His 2 elder brothers were no help either. One was married and didn't care, the other was unmarried and broke. And on top of that, my boyfriend was sending 15,000 rupees every month to his mother, even though he was already paying for all her expenses like groceries and bills. When I asked him why, he said, "She's my mom. You won't understand." After everything, the broken promises, the lack of planning, the avoidance of any real future talk, I finally ended it. He begged me for 6 more months to sort things out. I refused. I was tired of waiting. I cried for weeks. My friends at work tried to comfort me, telling me I did the right thing, that I deserved someone who would plan a future with me. But then he made me feel guilty. He said things like, "You moved on so fast. You're so cold. Why did I even love you? You want a rich life. I'm just poor. I have faith in God, not money. You'll regret this." Those words stayed in my head for days. But deep down I knew I wasn't asking for riches. I was asking for effort, a plan, a future, something real. And he just wasn't willing to give it. Now I keep wondering, AITAH for leaving him because of this? Should I have waited longer? Story 8. AITAH for keeping my distance from my friend group? I'm 17 and lately I've been pulling away from my group of friends. And honestly, I'm not sure if I'm the one in the wrong for doing it. There are 7 of us, all the same age, and for the longest time we were super close. Always together. No drama. Everything just felt so easy and fun. Hanging out after school, sleepovers, endless texting, inside jokes no one else would get. It was like having 6 sisters who always had my back. But ever since this year started, something shifted. It started when one of my friends broke up with her boyfriend last spring. At first, everyone was supportive. We'd listened to her vent about him and what he did wrong and how she deserved better. But the months went on and she just couldn't let him go. Every day it was something about him, who he was texting, who he was sitting next to in class, who he might be dating next, what he posted on Instagram, what his friends said about him. And for a while, I kept listening. I wanted to be there for her, but it just went on and on and on. So one day I gently told her, "Hey, maybe it's time to stop worrying about him so much. You deserve peace, you know?" I thought I was being kind, helpful, but the way she looked at me made my stomach twist. From that moment on, she stopped telling me things. It was like a switch flipped. Suddenly, she was whispering to the others when I wasn't around, sharing little secrets in the group chat, but leaving me out of the loop. And it stung because I have a boyfriend too. Our relationship started later than hers, but has lasted longer. And she's never liked him. She always says it's nothing personal, but there's this vibe, like she thinks I'm stupid for being with him. The weird thing is, when she started talking to new guys after her breakup, she would tell the other girls everything. Every little text, every little look. But not me. I was the only one actually in a relationship, but she didn't want my opinion. Or maybe she didn't want me to feel superior or something. I don't know, but it felt weird. And then the invites started drying up. She'd plan hangouts, and I'd only hear about them after they happened. Group things would be arranged in the chat, and somehow I'd be left out. Once I showed up to a mutual friend's birthday party, something I was actually invited to, and I finally snapped. I was upset, feeling left out for weeks, and I asked her straight out why she kept excluding me. She looked at me like I was the problem and told me I was ruining the mood and to just leave if I couldn't be fun. I wanted to sink into the floor. I felt so embarrassed and small. After that, I tried harder. I smiled like nothing was wrong. I'd offer to help with homework. I'd listen if they needed to vent. I laughed at their jokes even when they weren't funny. But behind my back, they were still making plans without me. I only found out because one of the girls, who they've also started freezing out, told me about these secret get-togethers. She showed me snaps and texts. My stomach dropped. I thought these girls were my best friends. Now it feels like I never really knew them. I've been ignoring them at school, walking past them in the halls without a glance, not answering texts. I know it's petty. I know it's childish, but I feel so hurt. Even my best friend since kindergarten didn't warn me this was happening. She just went along with it, like it was easier to stay with the group than stick up for me. I miss them. I miss what we had. I want to fix it, but I don't know how to say I'm hurt without sounding dramatic or needy. My mom thinks maybe some of them are jealous because I'm the only one still in a relationship and they're not. But I don't know. Maybe I am the problem. Maybe I pushed too hard. Maybe they got tired of me. Or maybe they just changed and didn't want me around anymore. I don't don't know what to do. I feel so lost. Am I the bad one here? Or am I right to feel so let down? What should I do? Before we move on to the next story, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, tell us your favorite story in the comments. And if you have your own story to share, let us know down there too. Story 9. AITA for deciding to stop talking to my grandmother for good. I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I've finally reached the point where I don't want anything to do with my dad's mother anymore. It's been building for years, probably since I was a little kid, but now it feels like I just can't keep pretending everything's fine. My grandma has always made it obvious that my older brother, who's 32, and my younger cousin, who's 17, are way more important to her than I ever was. Every birthday, every Christmas, every family event, it was the same thing. My cousin would get showered with gifts, way more expensive stuff than anyone else, and she'd gush over him like he was the greatest kid on earth. My brother always got praise too, even when he didn't really do much of anything. And me? I'd get the scraps. Comments like, "Oh, I forgot you like that," or "maybe next time," whenever there was something I wanted or needed. I was never the one she got excited for, never the one she made an effort for. When I finished grad school last year, the first grandchild in the family to ever do that, she barely reacted. She told us she was too tired to come to the ceremony, couldn't make the drive. But funny enough, just a few weeks later, she drove hours to watch my cousin play baseball. Same month. No problem at all getting in the car for him. She doesn't even try to make things okay between us. Whenever we have family dinners, she cooks these big meals full of stuff I can't eat. I've been allergic to peppers, onions, and garlic since I was 10 years old. 10. And every time I remind her, she just laughs and says something like, "You can always grab something from the freezer," as if I'm some annoying afterthought instead of her granddaughter. It honestly feels like she does it on purpose, like she gets some weird satisfaction out of making me feel like I don't belong. And it's not just that. When I call her, she never answers. Never. If I text her directly, nothing. Total silence. But if I say something in the family group chat, suddenly she's replying to everyone else like nothing happened. She skips over me on purpose, like I don't even exist. This summer, my dad planned this big beach trip for the whole family. He rented this huge house, made sure every room was covered. Nobody had to pay a thing. Everyone was invited. But guess who said she wasn't coming? Grandma. No real excuse. She just told my mom it wasn't worth the effort. This woman who will drive miles and miles to go watch my cousin swing a bat couldn't be bothered to see the rest of her family for a free beach vacation. And yeah, I took that personally, because it's clear she doesn't care about seeing me or my husband. We don't matter to her the way my brother and cousin do. We never have. My friend told me I should really think about it before cutting ties with her completely. That maybe I'd regret it one day, but honestly, I don't think I will. I'm tired of being treated like a side note in my own family. I told my husband that from now on I'd rather spend Christmas with his family instead. His grandmother makes me feel welcome, seen, like I actually matter. And right now, that feels like the only thing I want. Would I be AITA for just being done with my grandma for good? Story 10. AITA for getting mad at my boyfriend for joking that I'll cheat every time I hang out without him. I've been dating my boyfriend for about a year and a half now, and lately something's been really bothering me. It's not something huge or dramatic on the surface, but it's the kind of thing that builds up over time until you feel like you're going crazy. Every time I try to do something without him, even something small and innocent, he turns it into some kind of joke about me cheating on him. Like last weekend, I told him I was going to grab coffee and run a few errands with my childhood friend. Immediately, he said, "Hope you find a better man while you're out there," and then laughed like it was the funniest thing ever. When I didn't laugh back, he told me I was being too sensitive, that he was just kidding like he always does. But it's not just that one time. It's every time. If I mention I'm running to the store or going to see my sister, he'll make some dumb comment like, "Try not to fall in love on the way back," or "Don't let some random guy sweep you off your feet." He insists it's all harmless, just jokes, but it doesn't feel harmless to me. It makes me feel disrespected, like he doesn't trust me at all, like he thinks I'm always on the lookout for someone better. And the worst part is, I've told him this. I've told him straight up, multiple times, that these little jokes make me feel like he thinks I'm disloyal or shallow or just waiting for a chance to cheat on him. I've told him they make me feel small and crappy and not trusted. But he just laughs and tells me I'm being dramatic, like I'm the one making this into a big deal when he's just joking. A few nights ago, I finally snapped. I was tired and stressed, and he made another one of those comments, and I couldn't hold it in anymore. I told him I was sick of hearing the same stupid joke every time I wanted to leave the house, that if he seriously thought I was going to cheat on him, then why was he even with me at all? He got all quiet and sulky and said I was making a big deal out of nothing. And now it's weird between us. We haven't really spoken properly since then. He texted me once to say, "Sorry if you took it the wrong way," but that felt like such a non-apology. Like I'm the problem for being upset, not him for making the same joke over and over that I've asked him to stop. I left him on read. My best friend says I'm totally right to be upset, that this isn't okay, but some of our mutual friends are acting like I'm the uptight one, like I should just laugh it off because he's just teasing and it's not that serious. But it feels serious to me. It feels like he doesn't trust me. And honestly, I don't know what to do next. AITA for being this mad over his so-called jokes. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell us your favorite story in the comments, and feel free to share your own story too.